everyone, this is Sherry at djsundry.blogspot.com. Welcome to the second day of the 12 Days of Christmas tags on djsundry.blogspot.com. Now today is Two Turtle Doves, and we'll get to the tag in just a minute. If you're joining us and you haven't seen day one, be sure to check out day one. I also would encourage you to go to the blog and look at the blog post associated with this, but on the blog only, not on YouTube. I am having a giveaway for this cartridge. This is the gingerbread cartridge, which is a really fun limited edition. It's one of the little solutions cartridges, and I own this and really like it, so I decided to give it away as part of the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway to go with the tags. And there's several ways you can win. You can link up, you can follow along and make up your own tags and link them up on the blog, and that will give you, every day that you link up a tag, that gives you a chance to win. And then you can become a follower on the blog to win. There are lots of ways to win, so be sure and check out the blog. So let's move right on to day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas tags. Now, like the first day, I'm using these I think they're number 5 tags. Yes, number 5 tags that I had just picked up at the office supply store. I'm not too worried if they're archival safe or anything, because they're more for just to give as gifts, so I don't care if they go in scrapbooks or not, so I'm not too worried about archival safe. And today I'm doing it a little bit different. Look at day 1 if you want to see the tag on that one, and if you remember, we did some paper tearing and those kind of things. But today I actually found some scraps of paper, and this is from Cloud9 Designs, and it's not even Christmas paper. It's paper that I had left over from a project that I had done a month or two ago. And so I found this and I thought this is perfect to go with turtle doves. I'm also using the 12 Days of Christmas buttons on the Joys of the Season cartridge. So let's get started on today's tag. So today, rather than tear the paper, I actually adhered the paper to the tag and made it the exact same size as the tag. And that's because I wanted just a little more finished edge to this one. Now I printed my little jingle. Again, if you go to the blog, you can get the link to get the sentiment to go with the 12 Days of Christmas tags and the story and how it all works. But I went ahead and I printed that on this nice blue paper here and retyped it and got it all ready to go, and then I adhered this printed paper to the front of my tag. So I want to take the Ice Spruce Distress ink from Tim Holtz, and I want to ink around the edges of the front of my tag. I didn't really ink the edges of the back of my tag this time. I'm just inking the front, and I love this Ice Spruce Distress ink. This is one of the seasonal distress inks, and it's just gorgeous. I think it's probably my favorite of the 3 of the seasonal ones that came out. So that is going to be inked, just lightly inked around the edges. And then we have our shapes. Now, I cut out the 2 turtle doves in coordinating paper to the pack. It actually came from the same pack. And again, just using scraps. I didn't use anything. The only new paper that I used was the paper to print this, just because it's easier to go through my printer if it's a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. But I cut the 2 turtle doves and their little bird cage and their layers out at 2 inches. Now the dark blue is just the normal button. I'm sorry, it's at 1.5 inches. The dark blue is just the normal button, and then the light blue is the layer, which also cuts out a heart, but I don't want to use the heart because we're going to do something else with it. And that's going to go right there on the edge. And then the 2 turtle dove saying I also cut in the same dark blue, and it's also at 1.5 inches on the Joys of the Season, and it's actually on the second button. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers here, and let's get this adhered down very quickly. This glue pen is just about every once in a while I keep thinking it's going to go, and then it just keeps going. It's got quite a lot of glue in it. but it keeps working, so I'm going to keep using it. And I found that for this, a glue pen works really well. The other thing that would work really well if you wanted to use that would be if you had the little Xyron 150. That would work perfectly for this as well. I think it's probably narrow enough that it would go through it. So there's that. Let's get our letters. I know the letters would go through the 150. If the bird cage wouldn't, you could also use the 250. It definitely would go through that. But I just thought, you know, for this particular project, it's just as easy to go with the little glue pen. Now I have, just when I'm done gluing this, the front will not quite be done, but we'll set it aside and work on the back, and then we'll finish off the front in a few minutes. And I'm not necessarily trying to put it on evenly. I'm trying to kind of make it, I'm not worried about it being straight. I kind of have it askew a bit. I always forget that I have these tweezers and I forget to use them. All right. Oops. And then my fingers get all gluey like that. So then we're just going to adhere it down. And now we're going to move to the back while that's drying. I'll just set that aside. And I want to wipe off my fingers real quick here. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different for the back. On day one, we tore the paper and made it pretty. And today, I wanted to do just something a little bit different. So I went to my Christmas stamps, and I found this set from Inkadinkado, and it's from, looking for a name on it, Snowflakes. That's a pretty easy name. This is a snowflake set, and I chose this large set, which is actually a little bit bigger than my tag, but it's perfect for what I'm wanting to do with it. So what I did is I got it set up on my my block, and then I got my Versamark pad out, and let's ink up the stamp with the Versamark. And I debated back and forth of doing this two different ways. I really kind of like the effect of it going right over the words, just like that, and press it down. And some of it goes off the paper, which is just fine for what I'm doing with it. And you can just barely see it here, but the Versamark just kind of gives a watermark, and I thought about leaving it just like that because that is pretty. But instead, what I decided to do is I have some clear embossing powder from Hero Arts here, and I decided to just go ahead and emboss it. So just knock that off just like that. Now, I don't know how well the camera's picking this up, but right now it's kind of difficult to read the words because the embossing powder is a little bit opaque. But by the time I heat emboss that and set that, the embossing powder, it will become clear again, and it just adds just a little extra dimension to our tag. So let me wipe off the stamp, just because I've learned that if Versamark sits too well, it doesn't clean as easily off of either the stamping block or the stamp. It just takes some more work if you don't wipe it off pretty quick. Versamark does stay wet for a while, so that's one of the nice things about Versamark too. So for now, I'm just going to set this aside. I don't want to take the time to heat emboss it. I'll just start it. I just have my embossing tool. And you just run the heat embosser over it until it completely comes through clear, and it will look like this. And you can just see the different snowflakes in the background behind my words now, and it's raised because it's heat embossed. So we're going to take that, and now we're going to put that on the back of the tag. And my tag's picked up some of the extra ink, but it doesn't matter to me because we're going to be covering that anyway. Now, I found that for me, it was easier to leave this hole like this for the back side, and for me to apply my adhesive to the back of the tag. And then I can go back and go back through and trim up my top layer. But this way I could kind of center my phrase and see what I was doing. Now, if you notice, I was very generous with the adhesive because I don't want to take the chance of when it's sitting outside or whatever it will be doing overnight, I don't want to take the chance of losing it and it coming apart. So I'm really generous with that adhesive on the back of these tags. And then I just set that there and cover it up. It's so easy to trim because it's straight line trimming, and I'm just trimming just like this and like this, just like so. And then I just took a little hole punch. You could use a Crop-A-Dile if you want, but I had this old Office Supply paper punch, hole punch, that was the perfect size for my hole. And that's done. And we're actually almost done with our tag. I have this trim that I picked up at Michael's. It's a Celebrated brand, and it's just this braided silver and white trim that I thought was really pretty. Now, it's also very ravelly. So what I did is I took a match and just melted the ends so that it wouldn't all ravel out. And when I go to put it through the tag, it's almost too wide for the tag. And so you have to be very careful putting it in because it's such a loose braid that it comes apart very, very easily. So that, just run that through, and there's our tag. So there's just a couple more steps to finishing up this little. I like this, but it was a little bit too plain for me. So what I did is, to start with, I got some candy cane stickles, and this is why I didn't use the blue heart, because this is the one punch of different color on this particular tag, rather than the blue, the white, and well, there's a little silver too. But I wanted to make the heart red. So using the candy cane stickles, I'm just filling in that heart with that. And then for the rest of it, to kind of add interest and make it pop, I have my glossy accents here, and I am just going to go over all of the images, the birds, the bird cage, and the letters. And what that does is it raises it, gives it a little bit of shine. It also, it almost makes, if you've not seen this done before, it almost makes the images look like puffy stickers. It just gives it just that little extra dimension to finish it off. And I will go ahead and just finish the bird cage, and then I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute. This is the bird cage here. It does take a little bit of time to go over all of the pieces. So let me just show you. When it's all done, and the camera just barely, I don't know even how well it picks it up, but when it's all done, it just has that little bit of sparkle and shine there. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the blog and to learn about the giveaway, to see the first day of tags, and to see what you can do to be eligible for the giveaway. There's all sorts of ways to get to win. So come see us at djsundries.blogspot.com and come back tomorrow for this third tag. Thanks. Have a good day.